Thank you all for coming on. If you could send the link to others to join, we'll sing some songs of Yerushalayim afterwards. And thank you for giving me the scoop, HaAm, to be here to share this with these amazing ladies in Yerushalayim, at the Kotel, and Yom Yerushalayim, with thousands and thousands of Jews from all over the country, all over the world. Mizmor Todah. We have to say Mizmor Todah. That's exactly what we talked about. Mizmor Todah is Emunah, and she was saved. She had a miracle that happened to her. And she's sharing how she is in gratitude to Kadosh Baruch Hu for saving her life. Baruch HaShem. Thank you, HaAm, for the fruit of being here. Thank you, HaAm, for my amazing friends here at HaAm. May we be zocha to celebrate right here at the Kotel very, very soon. במהרה בימינו, ותשיח צדקנו בחסד ורחמים, גאולה בעזרת השם, את בית המקדש בחסד ורחמים גדולים. אמן, כן יהי רצון. Okay, with no further ado, I want to welcome. I'll just hold you there for a second. אין לנו על מי להישען, אלא אבינו שבשמיים. Gonna say Mizmor Todah together. Let's say it with them. Mizmor Todah, בריאו לאדוני כל הארץ. עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, בואו לפניו ברננו. ראו כי אדוני הוא אלוהים. הוא רצנו ונתנו עמה. וצאמר איתו. בואו שעריו בתודה, חצרותיו בתחילה. הודו לו, ברכו שמו כי טוב אדוני לעולם חסדו, ודור ודור אמונתו. איי איי איי. טובות טובות. איי איי איי. איי איי איי. Don't want to go home there. Devora, you coming over? Devora? Yeah, let you speak. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you to Devora for being here. Thank you all for joining. Let's invite our friends to come on and tell them what they're missing. Devora's going to speak about a very nice topic, and I'll be with you guys later. Say hi.
Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you so much. It's so beautiful. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to start speaking. This is so beautiful to watch, incredible to be a part of. And I thank Karen for always like making us a part of everything so beautiful and just making us feel as if, yes, we are in Yerushalayim right now. So it's with gratitude, HaAm, that we're all here together, that we're learning, that we're in Yerushalayim, that we're celebrating Yom Yerushalayim today. And really, I think of Yerushalayim, I think of hope, right? We think of hope. And so, and of course it's HaTikvah. So, but really just the hope, and it's so beautiful. And there were so many beautiful videos shared this morning on WhatsApp groups, especially ones that Karen is a part of, and just giving us the idea, you know, just from the history standpoint as to, you know, the recapturing of Yerushalayim again and how beautiful it was. And I found myself crying. And it's just it's a wonderful day to celebrate. And it really is celebration, because in joy we will go out. So I was going to look just before I started with with what I had mentioned in the flyer, I really wanted to just touch upon Yerushalayim and really the origins of the name. So we see the word Yerushalayim in the book of Yehoshua, but we also see parts of it, right, and hints in the Chumash, because everything is in the Chumash. And so I was just going to look a little bit at where that is, and also David HaMelech and his special connection, right, to Yerushalayim. So essentially, we look at Yerushalayim, and we know there's Yira, right? And when we think of Yira, we think very often of Akedah Yitzhak, which is actually one of my favorite parts of davening Shachrit is the story of Akedah Yitzhak. And so in there, we also learn that, Yira is awe, right? It's complete awe, but it's also the idea that Hashem will see, right? So Hashem sees the site of the Akedah Yitzhak of the as the future site, right, of the Beit Hamikdash, of the Temple Mount, but also Hashem, it says this very nicely in the Art Scroll Siddur, that the Akedah will take place, and it's that the Akedah is a source of merit for the offspring of Abraham, right, and all of his descendants. So this is the 10th test, and I know that the sages sometimes have a little bit of dispute as to what the 10 tests actually are, but there's some tests that all the sages agree upon, and obviously Akedah Yitzhak is one of the tests that we see as the 10th test, right, that Abraham receives, and just in the zichros of how he reacted in this tremendous faith in Hashem, and just really knowing, I mean, just such a level of emunah that in his merit, right, that all the Jewish people, all of his descendants, okay, this is it's in the zichus of that that we also have this special site of the Beit Hamikdash in particular within Yerushalayim, and also the idea of Yira. So that might be, if you can see where Yerushalayim comes from. So that's the first half of the word. And then we have, where does the second part of the word come from? So for me, when I think of it, I think of shalom, which makes complete sense, right? That we would have peace, right? In Yerushalayim, and of course in the Beit Hamikdash, which is where Hashem is going to dwell, right? Where there's peace and tremendous unity, and love amongst each other. But we do see this it's actually shalem, but it's referred to also, and also in connection with Abraham. It's in Parshas Lech Lecha, and in that it was following the war with the kings, and Abraham the captives are free, which is a very, very hopeful thing to think about, and the captives are free, including Lot, right, which Abraham had gone to help save. And when this happens, Abraham comes back, and as we'll recall, he doesn't take anything, any of the spoils of the war. He said he won't even take a shoelace, so Yibun, which is where there's this particular mitzvah, right, that comes from that, and which Abraham also, I think, has a special connection to. But in that, it's like he also gives, it says specifically in the Torah that he who comes out to greet him is Malit Tzedek. Malit Tzedek is the king of Shalem, and Shalem is really Yerushalayim. It's location for Yerushalayim. Malit Tzedek is supposed to be also another name for the son of Noah, and so that's another a reference to the fact that that area is called Shalem. Then there's actually a beautiful midrash that kind of puts all of this together. And essentially it says, and I'll read it to you, it said the Holy One, blessed be he, if I call the place Yira, like Abraham did, the righteous Shem will complain. So that's, again, Mali Tzedek. However, if I refer to it as Shalem, the righteous Abraham will complain. Rather, I will call it Yerushalayim, and the name will contain the way it was called by both of them, Yira and Shalem. So again, it's a beautiful combination, and on a deeper level, Yira Shalem has this like another deep meaning that means complete awe, right? And so it's on this beautiful level that It's a special place where each and every one of us, right, we're one with Hashem, and we're deeply in tune with his presence in the sense that we know he's always with us. And Yerushalayim or Yerushalayim means complete awe. So it's this beautiful state that we're in. And when I think of Yerushalayim also, I mean, I do tend to think of the Beit HaMikdash. And of course, I think of David HaMelech. And so much, David HaMelech wanted to build the Beit HaMikdash, and that beautiful honor was given to his son, right? Shalom, peace. And but David HaMelech did everything he could to really prepare everything. And even when he found out he was not going to build the Beit HaMikdash, it was still very important for him to take a part in any preparations that he could. And it's also very nice because when David HaMelech wanted to acquire so he wanted to acquire the Temple Mount. He insisted on paying for it, right? Which also kind of reminds us of actually the cave of Machpelah in terms of Abraham insisted on paying for it. So it's this notion that we're gonna pay and we're gonna have actual ownership here. And basically when he went to pay for it, David HaMelech made sure to collect 50 shekels of silver from each of the tribes. And this way, it's like all the tribes, right, had a part in acquiring it. So this is a very beautiful, it's a very beautiful example of inclusion and how every single one of us is part of Yerushalayim, and every single one of us is part of the Beit HaMikdash. So this is another very beautiful idea. And then I'm going to share something which many of you probably already know, but I thought it was a very nice thing, just in terms of the significance of Yerushalayim. And this is called The Legend of Two Brothers. So I'm going to read to you from one of the Chabad sites that paraphrases this story. It says, two brothers had each inherited half of their father's farm. One of the brothers was married and had a large family. The other brother was single. They lived on opposite sides of a hill. One night during harvest time, the single brother tossed about in bed. How can I rest comfortably and take half of the field when my brother has so many more mouths to feed? So he arose, gathered bushels of produce, and quietly climbed the hill to bring them over to his brother's barn. Meanwhile, his brother across the hill could not sleep. How can I enjoy my full share of the produce and not be concerned with my brother? He is alone in the world, without a wife or children. Who will support him in his old age? So he arose in the night and quietly brought over bushels of produce to his brother's barn. When the next morning dawned, each brother was surprised to find what they had given away had been replenished. They continued these nocturnal treks for many nights. Each morning, they were astounded to find that the bushels they had removed had been replenished. Then one night it happened. The brothers met on top of the hill during their evening adventure, and there they embraced. Hashem looked upon this expression of brotherhood and said, on this spot of mutual love, I wish to dwell. Here my holy temple will be built. Although it is indeed a very moving and inspiring story, okay, you're right, it's not necessarily found within the Talmud and the Midrash. However, because it says its original source remains unclear. But I think one of the most important parts about this is that the Holy Temple is being built, right, where there is peace and love and unity among brothers. So this is another very, very beautiful piece. And I think that with this, I'm going to start to speak a little bit about what is in the flyer. Unless anybody would like to share anything about Yom Yerushalayim, ways they've celebrated, hopes, dreams, anything, maybe a good, anything they've heard, a video, I'd welcome anybody's contribution if they would like to share now. No. Okay. Okay. All right. You're welcome to share at the end as well. All right. So today I'm talking a little bit about a lot of different things, but they all kind of come together. And essentially, it's the notion of transformation. And within this, I was actually thinking of Leah and her transformation. And then I was thinking of, when I came to love, again, the idea of brotherly love. And then I was, and also sisterly love, because there's a tremendous, tremendous healing when the sisters are loving and empathetic towards each other. And then the Sefirot, right? So I I had already started thinking when we got together before and we were talking about Hod and the notion that each of the spheres, right, are connected to a particular person. And very often, I mean, if you look at the way the spheros are, right, you'll have, Chesed is Abraham, right? Gevura is Yitzchak, the union of the two, the balance, right? The harmony is Tiferet, which is Yaakov, and we have all of these different, right? Hod is associated. Well, Netzach actually is associated with Moshe. Hod is Aaron, and then it comes together with Yesod, the foundation, which is Yosef, and then of course Malchut, right, which is David HaMelech. So we look at this in terms of, very prominent and wonderful Jewish men in history. But when I look at a lot of things, whether it's looking at the Chumash or even when I was looking at the Sefirot, I actually see again the women, the mothers, and and even with the blessings, right? Like Yaakov gives the blessings, and Moshe gives the blessings to the tribes. Yaakov obviously gives it first to his children, and when we have these blessings, I also think of how they are so connected to their mothers, to the women in the Torah. So I was thinking of that in terms of the Sefirot. And I was thinking, when I see like Aharon and I see Moshe, right, and these two brothers that get along very beautifully. And again, Rabbi Foreman does an amazing job of showing how much of a healing is happening from the Yosef and his brothers, just in the way Moshe and Aharon interact with each other. And I look at Moshe and Aharon, and they're to me, it's from the tribe of Levi, and Levi is associated with Leah. And then of course, and it's this beautiful, and from these brothers, right? Moshe is Moshe Rabbeinu, who teaches us Chumash. Aharon is the Kohanim, right? The priestly class comes from him, really the spiritual leaders. And then of course from, the idea of Levi, right, which is such a wonderful, wonderful tribe and chosen, right, to do the avoda in the Beit HaMikdash. So the tribe of Levi is from Leah. And when I see this, and then of course we have David HaMelech, right, which is right now we are in the sphere of Malchut, and we began this. It's always the foundation the start is Chesed, right? So it's Chesed Sheba Malchut, and in Israel it's probably going right towards but we started with Chesed Sheba Malchut. And so Malchut is associated with David HaMelech, and David HaMelech, of course, is the tribe of Yehuda. And very often I see this transformation within Leah, and I think I've mentioned this before, when she has her children. And so with Leah, again, she's unlike a lot of the other matriarchs. She conceives very quickly, right? Whereas Sarah and Rivka and Rachel had trouble conceiving, right away, and they really had to daven and wait, and then Hashem blessed them, But Leah conceived pretty quickly. You have Sarah, you have Rivka, and you have Rachel, who are associated with Chesed, and then you have Leah, who's associated with Gevura. So Leah really, in many ways, is a little bit different than the other matriarchs, and she adds her own flavor, honestly, to Jewish history, in the sense that she has these tremendous children, right, who, like, such as Levi and such as Yehuda, which are in these Sefirot, these recent Sefirot. And something to me like really incredible, transformational happens to Leah in between having these children. And I think it relates to who's in between. Okay, the two spheres, we have Hod and we have Netzach and Hod, so that's the tribe of Levi. And then we have Malchut, who's the tribe of Yehuda. And in between we have Yosef. Okay, so I think like within this structure, I actually see this transformation of Leah and this healing process. Okay, so again, we can look at it and we can see the men that each attribute is associated with, but I also very much see the women in this. And so what I think happens, and I think we spoke about this, is that because we know that Yaakov was supposed to have 12 sons, right? And each matriarch, like each person was then going to have three children. So, in terms of the sons. So that's what you would think, right? Between Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah. So each one would have three. And when Leah initially might have seen having the children as a way to almost gain her husband's love, right? Because that's another very big difference that we see. And that is that, Sarah is very loved and Rivka is very loved and Rachel's very loved. And not that Leah is not loved, but she is the one that sort of has to almost really come through a process of being loved, and when she initially marries Yaakov, it's very much known that Rachel is more the favored, right, in terms of who Yaakov wants to be with and whom Yaakov originally intended to marry. And so Leah's in this position of really wanting to gain her husband's love. And what happens is initially she may view, and actually even the way the children are named, right? It shows that she's hoping to gain Yaakov's love through having children. But somewhere in this, it changes because after having 3 children, of course, the third is Levi, okay? She then has Yehuda. And so it's all of a sudden she's having almost more than her share. If you think about it, each person having 3. And she has this tremendous gratitude, right, to Hashem. And it almost like goes from this place of trying to gain her husband's love to realizing that she is building the Jewish nation, right? And this is one of my favorite parts of davening when it's the rabbis, right? You don't see your children, don't think of your children as children, but and your students as children, but think of them as builders, right? Banayim, bonayim. So it's that type of an idea. And in this place of transformation, right, that Leah has, it's not just that you're transformed in one way, right? It's almost like it's a transformation in your perspective and how you see things. And so it's transformed in terms of how she's seeing her children. It's transformed perhaps in how she's seeing her role, right, within the marriage and Yaakov. And it's her transformation also how she's seeing herself within her sister relationship with Rachel. And so it's a huge transformation. And I actually see this transformation and the special connection between Levi and Yehuda also at the Yom Suf. There's different ways of looking at that. And so, with Hashem's help, we really see these beautiful connections sometimes. And I think that, in this particular case, when we see this, between the Levi and Yehuda, if we're looking at how that transformation also affects Rachel and her relationship with Rachel. And I think we've also spoken about this in terms of the empathy that she shows Rachel sometimes, right? She shows it at such an incredible way. We know that Rachel showed empathy to Leah at the very beginning when she gave up, her spot in being the Kala, and she wanted Leah to know the answers to the questions. And that was beautiful amount of empathy. And then later we have Leah showing empathy. And where is that? That is again when she davens, that she should not be pregnant with a boy, but rather, be pregnant with a girl, which of course, gives birth to beautiful Dinah. And because she doesn't want Rachel not to have at least 3 children, right? This is really what she wants to make sure that Rachel has children. And as much as she can pray to Hashem, because it's all up to Hashem, that's what she does. And what happens when she davens is Rachel ends up having Yosef, right? And then Binyamin. And so it's this within the transformation of Levi and Yehuda, which again is like that Sefirot, there's this Yesod, which is Yosef. And Yosef is sort of, to me, part of that transformation, because part of that transformation is how elevated the relationship is between Rachel and Leah, and the healing and the empathy that comes about because of it. And it's a healing for all of Bnei Israel, I believe. It feels like that. And so what happens is Yosef is born, right? And keep in mind that Leah wants, right? We learned from the Midrash that Leah wants Rachel. She doesn't want Rachel to have fewer than 3 children. And what happens with Yosef is he ends up becoming the Bechor, right? Yaakov chooses him as the Bechor, and he treats, Ephraim and Manasseh, the same as if he would treat Reuben and Shimon, right? So we see that from Yosef comes two tribes, right? Ephraim and Manasseh, and we see this in this week's parsha, as we have the formations of the camps and how we camp and how we march in the desert in the Bamidbar, and so it becomes two, and then you have Binyamin, who is three, right? So it's almost like there is that three, and then of course who sort of, in that camp, we see that there's three camps, right? The heart is the camp of the Shekhinah, right? As we're camped in the desert, and then there's these formations of three tribes on every side, right? Northeast, west, and south, and essentially what we see is okay. So if Ephraim and Manasseh are sort of, and Binyamin are on one side together, like one side of the camp, then how are we, how is that possible when you're still having 12 tribes? And of course, the answer is because Levi, right, which is Leah's third son. Okay, we have a lot of threes, is in a special camp, right, around the camp of the Shekhinah. So there's a lot of beautiful things, I think, that I sometimes see within the Sefirot, and in particular because we can view a lot of the very prominent and important Jewish figures who are men in the Torah and the Chumash, and and even in all of the Tanakh, right? We see very strong connections with their mothers, and in particular maybe with the matriarchs, but we do see that a lot of the strength, and again, I a lot of times call the women the unsung heroes, because we're there the whole time, and it's tremendously beautiful, the contribution we all make, and if we look, we can see that. We can see the mothers through their children. And it's a very, very beautiful, beautiful thing. And we know that David HaMelech has a very special connection, right, to the temple, and to the Beit HaMikdash. And it's very beautiful how much it means to him, right? You open the gates of the righteous. It's just, it's tremendous. And in there's also, when I look at it, he comes obviously originally from Yehuda, and we see that there's so many there's so many things that come through the tribe of Yehuda, right? Even Yehuda's plea to Yosef on the basis of mercy, right? And how much David HaMelech appeals to Hashem on the basis of mercy, and we see a lot there. And then of course Yehuda comes from Leah, and there's also a lot of beautiful similarities between Leah and David HaMelech. I think even from the standpoint that there's just a lot of beautiful similarities between the two. And I think that when we see that, it's actually a beautiful way to look at Chumash, and a beautiful way to look at things as because it doesn't, and we learned this before, like when we were looking at how the stones are ordered, right, on the ephod, on the shoulder straps, and that there were different ways of interpreting how the stones were ordered. And Rambam really looked at it in terms of the order being according to the mothers. And I think that inherent in that is this beautiful way of looking at Torah, and this beautiful way of looking at so many of the amazing people in our history that are men, and really seeing the women in that too, because we're there the whole time. And so it's just a beautiful way of looking at it in terms of support, in terms of even when I look at David HaMelech's mother, and I'm always not much is known about her, but when you research Nitzevet, there's also just a tremendous amount that it looks like, that David HaMelech could have inherited from Nitzevet. And then again, I think of him as crying out to Hashem, and we know that Leah, and the power of prayer, and how beautiful all of that is. And so I just think that it's beautiful to see how we all come together, and it's beautiful to see how sisters treat each other, how brothers treat each other, when we treat each other in love, and just to remember, how important that is for building a foundation for the Beit HaMikdash, for Mashiach to come, and how we treat each other, and how we love each other, and how much of that is within this, is within who we are, which is not to say people don't make mistakes, but we're able to, and again, Shuva is a huge part of this process, but we're able to, to become, if we can be compassionate to ourselves and to others, then we can really grow from a lot of things that we go through, and be very grateful from where we come from, because it's a tremendous, tremendous people. We are we are Bnei Israel, and when we come together like on a day to day, and we celebrate like we're celebrating now in Yerushalayim, it's such joy that we all bring each other, and it's connecting from our hearts, which I think is so incredibly important, and it really reminds us that we're all one, which I think is something that it's really important for all of us to know, and I think there's a lot of beautiful moments that show that, and may we always know those moments in Simcha, and I really just I'm davening for all of us, right? That we should really have Mashiach soon, Mashiach ben David, and the Beit Hamikdash, and we should all celebrate in Yerushalayim very, very soon. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow, thank you, Devora. That was incredible.
Thank you for me. Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you. Also a quick mention, that's the Hilulal of Shmuel Hanavi. And also the anniversary of the execution of Eichmann Yimach Shemo.
And I'm just going to add also, we say Shmuel Hanavi, that Hannah also is tremendously beautiful. I just recently started davening from, I don't know if people know how you know this, but Ochel Sarah does a women's siddur, and there's a lot of beautiful, just a beautiful inspirational things are putting in the different tefillah in certain contexts. And of course, Hannah is mentioned because she's such a role model when it comes to tefillah.
There actually is a minhag, Devora. There's an actual minhag that on the yurt side of David Melech to say Tfilas Chana.
Thank you for me.
Okay.
Thank you. If anyone is interested, I could try to share the video about the liberation of Yerushalayim. Let me see if I can do that. Are you trying to play a video? Because there's no sound. You have to turn on sound when you're sharing.
Yeah. Were you able to see it?
I just came
Hello?
on.
It came
No, I
on?
didn't see video. No, I just saw a picture. Ask the other ladies, were you able to see it?
Yeah, yes, definitely. We were able to see it. It was beautiful.
And you could hear it?
Here, no, but at least see it. We saw it.
You have
Okay,
to
let me
share
try
sound.
again. I'm sorry. Let me
You
try
have to
again.
share sound. When you share screen, you have to share the sound. There's a click, there's a little tick button, little square. It says share sound. You're on your computer?
I'm on the phone. Let me.
Can't share it. You can't share sound on the phone. But send
I
it to
can't?
Devora and she'll share it. No, you can't share sound. I don't think you can.
Okay, so I put it in the chat, Devora. Could you share it, please? Or I'll have to make you host. Wait just a minute.
I'll make her co-host. I'll make her co-host.
Oh, you're gonna make her. Okay.
Devora, you're able to share it?
Okay, I can do share screen. Is there something else I'm supposed to do for the sound? I just don't want to.
Yeah, before you share the screen, before you press share, look at the little square.
Okay.
Pamela, you have to unshare because you're still sharing a screen.
Okay, let
And
me.
there's a little square tick that says share sound
Okay. hold
before
on.
you press the share button on the bottom. You see it?
No, I see one participant can share at a time, multiple participants, advancing sharing
No,
options.
no,
But
no, no. Do it now. She just unshared. Go ahead.
okay.
Okay.
So-
Sorry, I'm new at this.
oh yeah,
Sorry
I
about
see.
that.
Okay. Okay, share sound. I see it down here. Okay. And
Perfect.
then,
Okay. And then you can enlarge the screen and adjust the volume if it's too loud.
okay,
Go ahead.
so if this is, oh my goodness. All right, it's asking me to put in a password. Okay.
Come on, you're the teacher. You know how to do this.
I know, but it's now asking me to restart my audio sharing. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Go off the screen and go back on.
Okay, go off. All right, let's try this. Okay.
No, you just shared. Did
And
you
is
do audio?
Can you
From
hear
the
it?
dawn of civilization,
Yes.
armies arrived from the ends of the earth to lock swords over
Thank you.
Jerusalem, the city that King David chose some 3,000 years ago as the capital of his ancient Israelite kingdom. Two subsequent Jerusalem temples served the Jewish nation for most of a millennia from atop the Temple Mount. Their former site remains Judaism's holiest location until today. In the course of the 1948 Israeli War of Independence, the Jordanians occupied East Jerusalem, capturing the Old City and the Temple Mount, and expelling its Jewish inhabitants. A 1949 armistice agreement left this territory in Jordanian hands. But in violation of its agreements, Jordan denied Jews entry to the city and its holy sites. Jordan systematically desecrated and destroyed 58 synagogues, ancient Jewish religious sites, tens of thousands of graves on the Mount of Olives cemetery that had served the Jewish nation for 2,500 years. For 19 years, the ancient capital lay divided between Jordan and Israel, with 7 miles of urban border separating East and West Jerusalem. When war erupted between Egypt and Israel at 7:14 on the morning of June 5, 1967, Israel lacked the manpower and resources to fight on more than one front simultaneously. It concentrated its forces on the Egyptian front, leaving a single brigade to face Jordan. Israel hoped that Jordan would stay out of the fray.
He appealed to King Hussein and to other neighbors to stay their hand, and Israel would do likewise.
But Jordan had already mobilized 11 brigades on Israel's borders. It had invited Iraq's forces to join an attack on Israel, and it had signed a defense pact that placed its army under Egyptian command to better coordinate an Arab-Israeli war. At 9 a.m., at Egypt's urging, King Hussein ordered the indiscriminate shelling of Jewish Jerusalem and other targets. His planes bombed Israeli airfields. Israel bit its lip, hoping that Jordan was making a formal gesture of solidarity with Egypt and that the eastern border would soon fall silent. But by 12:30 p.m., Jordan's offensive morphed from a rumble into a roar. Jordanian troops moved into southern Jerusalem's no man's land, and stormed Government House, the UN compound strategic to control of the city's south. Seeing her eastern border catch fire, Israel sent her wings ahead of her claws, first responding to Jordan from the skies. Jordan's airfields and air force were rapidly obliterated. Meanwhile, Israel scrambled to muster an infantry brigade from the north and to divert a paratrooper brigade from the Egyptian front. Israel did not intend to capture the old city, and certainly not the West Bank. Its stated goal was to secure key roads to Jerusalem, strategic ridges and fortified positions that encircled the city, and to create buffer zones for the future safety of Jerusalem and its environs. Israel also planned to liberate the route to the Mount Scopus demilitarized enclave that included the Hadassah Hospital and Hebrew University buildings. Mount Scopus was located in Jordanian-held territory, but in violation of the armistice. Jordan had severely restricted Israeli access for close to 20 years, rendering the area unusable. In the afternoon of June 5th, Israel launched a surprise assault on Government House. It captured the compound within 25 minutes of fierce fighting, then moved swiftly to take the nearby Naknit and Palmon strongholds, so that Israel could take control of the road from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. By 8 p.m., these missions were complete. Meanwhile, an Israeli armored brigade stormed the Tel Al-Ful ridge that rises some 2,800 feet above sea level. The ridge was key to controlling the Jerusalem-Ramallah route. Fierce battles raged through the night, but by 9:15 a.m. on June 6th, Tel Al-Ful fell to Israel. Early in the morning of June 6th, Israel fought one of its bloodiest battles at Ammunition Hill, a fortification that controlled the road to Mount Scopus. At 3:30 a.m., the battle began. Paratroopers advanced, exposed, without air or artillery cover due to the proximity to residential buildings. Barbed wire, minefields, stone-lined trenches, and cement bunkers formed an impermeable nightmare. Every few meters, Jordanian bunkers spewed relentless fire, often requiring hand-to-hand combat to subdue. Eventually, with all their officers dead, individual soldiers led the battle on their own initiative. As the sun rose some 3 hours later, Ammunition Hill fell as silent as a graveyard. 36 Israeli paratroopers had lost their lives, and today, Ammunition Hill serves as a memorial to their sacrifice. Israel was now free to approach Mount Scopus. At 9:30 a.m. on June 6, Israeli forces approached the enclave and fought a second bitter battle to capture Mivtar Hill. They accomplished their mission, but 34 soldiers fell this time, along with scores of injured. Down south, Israel made its way to Jordanian Jerusalem's Abu Tar neighborhood. They arrived at noon and fought a lengthy battle against 5 fortified Jordanian positions. By 6 p.m., the IDF had completed their immediate mission. All roads to Jerusalem had been secured, and all enemy strongholds in the immediate area had been captured. The Jordanian forces in the old city were isolated. At 7:45 a.m. on June 7th, the third day of the war, the IDF High Command issued a surprising order: capture the old city of Jerusalem. 2 battalions attacked the high ground, overlooking the city from the Jordanian side of the Mount Scopus demilitarized zone, while a 3rd battalion headed for the old city itself. At 9:45 a.m., Colonel Mota Gore reached Lion's Gate, and at 10 a.m., his voice crackled through the army radio, shouting ecstatic words that still ring in Israel's memory. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Minutes later, IDF Chief Rabbi Shlomo Goren arrived to recite the poignant Shehechi Yanu blessing and to sound the shofar, as emotional paratroopers wept and smiled at the ancient stones of the newly liberated wall. The iconic images of that moment have become symbols of Jewish survival and of the nation's inextinguishable bond with the sacred city. A second brigade entered the city south through the Ashpot Gate to flush out pockets of resistance. At 11 a.m., the Jordanian governor signed surrender papers, and the city elders surrendered at 11:15 a.m. By 1 p.m., the old city was under Israel's control.
Thanks, Devora. May Yerushalayim remain united under Jewish control, and may Mashiach come soon. We wait for him every day. Thank you. Can't hear you.
Barbara, can you unmute?
Yeah, no. I was just turning off because it was going to the next video and I didn't know if you could hear it too. So I was just trying to pause it.
Thank you so much. Karen, are you there?
I'm here. You're sharing
All
another
right.
video, or you stopped sharing? I thought she said she was sharing another video, so I didn't want to speak.
We can do that if
No,
people want
I
to stay
didn't
on.
mean for you to share. If you want to, if you want to stay on, go ahead. I was wondering.
I can find one, or someone else can.
What'd you say?
I can find another one if people want to stay on.
That's up to everybody here. I want to share with you, just it was so beautiful here. You were able to hear a little bit of the girls singing and dancing.
Sure.
You were able to hear? You were able to hear before?
We were able to see. I don't know about hearing. I can't remember.
Oh, you didn't hear it. Okay. But anyways, it was
We-
very, very special. Baruch Hashem, there was I'm gonna post in my group, Israel Inspiration. There were speeches by a few Knesset members. There was an orchestra, and we said tefillot. The rabbi of the kotel had some tefillot. It was really very, very special, very unique. You know, to just be here and celebrate. I thought I missed everything because I wasn't here by day, and I'm like, how am I going to get here with all the traffic? Thank you, Hashem. Found a spot right outside the hotel. Hashem loved me and walked right in. I heard earlier you weren't even able to get into the hotel. There were so many people here. And it's so beautiful because you see, like, and you hear different languages and different people from different areas. And it's really so, so special just to be here. It's a zchut to be here. So I give you all a bracha. Bezrat Hashem, you should be zochet to come to Yerushalayim very soon. Yerushalayim habnuya, with the Bet HaMikdash, Mashiach tzidkenu b'chesed v'rachamim gdolim. And we should be zoche to see its rebuilding and to be able to unite together here, the rebuilding of the Bet HaMikdash. And we have to pray. Tell you what the Yanuka says. The Yanuka says that we need to pray. We need to pray for Geula, but we also need to pray for Eretz Yisrael. We need to pray for Yerushalayim. It says at the end of days, there's going to be a big controversy about Yerushalayim. They're going to want to take it away from us, as we see now. I'm sure you heard the news. I don't have to tell anyone that they want to declare a Palestinian state. And some countries already decided to declare so. But it's a little bit of a joke for us because that means that Israel is not on the map, and we are very much on the map, very much a country that is saving lives, protecting the lives of its civilians and other civilians. And listen, Bezrat Hashem, Hashem should protect us, protect our soldiers, put an end to this war in a way that we'll have nitzachon, we'll be victorious, but we have to daven. We really need to daven. So take upon yourself today, say some of the Shir Ma'alot. They talk about Yerushalayim. Also, chapter 147 talks about the famous song, Shabechi Yerushalayim, Et Zion, right? Hallelujah, Et Zion. So we should praise Yerushalayim. We should ask for Yerushalayim to be rebuilt. We should yearn to be in Yerushalayim. We should yearn to see Yerushalayim built with the Bet HaMikdash here, where it says, "Techazena einenu b'shuvacha leTzion berachamim." This is what we want. We want to see this, right? We want to see this area built with the Bet HaMikdash right behind me, as you can see. That's what we want. And we have to imagine it. Let our eyes envision, like the vision of a Navi, that Hashem will return. B'shuvacha, Hashem leTzion berachamim. May Hashem return here with mercy. We should be zocha to see it. We should be zocha to unite here, to rejoice here, to hear the songs of the Leviim, to see the Kohanim bringing the korbanot for us. We should be zocha to have simchat bet hashoeva right here, right, and be able to really truly rejoice. Have simcha. And today is a great day of simcha because it's the day that we conquered Yerushalayim. As you saw and you heard in this video, I sent. I love that video when you hear the officer speaking and describing as they're walking in. And I'll tell you one thing. I always tell the story because it touches me very much. The story is about the Chayalim that entered the Kotel. And they came here right in front of the Kotel, what you see behind me. And they were able to conquer it. And they were all emotional. And one of them was crying. And the other one looked at him. He's like, "You're not religious. What are you crying about?" Said, "I'm crying on what I'm not crying about. Ani boche al masha ani lo boche." He didn't even understand what it meant for him to be able to come to Yerushalayim, to conquer it, to take control over it, because he didn't understand what Yerushalayim was. But he understood that it had tremendous amount of meaning, and that he was zoche to be there, to actually bring Yerushalayim to its to its freedom, to the hands of the Jews. So we today have Yerushalayim, but we're still not in the Binyan Yerushalayim, the true Yerushalayim that we want to see built, that we want to see, in its glory. Because unfortunately, in the streets of Yerushalayim, there are people that are not keeping Torah mitzvah. So let us take a moment today to imagine, to think about what it means to come back to Yerushalayim, the rebuilt Yerushalayim, that everyone should be b'shalom. There should be no more sickness. There should be no more illness. There should be no more poverty. Everyone should have their share, what they need. Everyone should feel the love of Hashem, should be close to Hashem. Everyone should be able to be chozel b'tshuva shlema. We have to pray for all Am Yisrael, lachzor b'tshuva shlema, to merit to see Yerushalayim built in our days. And we imagine it, we make it come to reality, right? Dimayon, the koach of the dimayon is the ability for us to bring something to fruition, to reality. So the more we imagine it, as we say it, as we're praying today, thank you, Pamela, whatever we're saying, in terms of the prayers, the Shira Ma'alot that you're saying, it's Einim, it's Tfilot in the Shemona Esrei, even a private tefillah has meaning, has significance, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us, and He wants to hear our tefillos, right? He wants to see our tshuva, wants to hear our tefillos, and we should not be chas v'chamila discouraged by what we're hearing in the news. Unfortunately, I know they found some more bodies. We should be zoche. You know what? We have to say thank you even for that we're zoche, that even that these people, Baruch Hashem, they were zoche to have Jewish burial. Tremendous chesed Hashem, that even that they're finding them and then we can give them Jewish burial. But we shouldn't get discouraged with all our captives. We should keep davening. We should hold strong. As Yeshua said to, Hashem said to Yeshua, as he came to conquer Eretz Yisrael, as you see that cleaning up here behind me, as As Yeshua, when he came to Eretz Yisrael, Hashem said, Chazak, Chazak, v'nit chazek. That's what we have to feel. We have to be chazek. We have to feel strengthened. That our soldiers are being mesirut nefesh. They're being moser nafsham. They're dedicating their lives, giving up their neshamas for the sake of protecting us, Am Yisrael. And we see their koach of positivity, the energy, the gvura, the might. We're entering into the week of Malchut. What's tonight? Tonight, Gvura, Shabbat Malchut? Devora, yeah? Look how I was mechaven. We're in the Gvura of Malchut. That's like ultimate Malchut because we have strength in our kingship. And I spoke about this the other day in one of my shiurim. I don't think I got to post it yet. It says that we have to have a zut de kedusha. And I feel this is what our soldiers have. When they're singing and dancing and rejoicing, they're besimcha, but yet they're representing azut, a kedusha. What's azut? Azut is strength. Hashem oz lamo yiten. So Sivan, the month of Sivan, which we're entering, Bezrat Hashem, tomorrow night, Chodesh Tov to everyone. We're going to have a Rosh Chodesh gathering tomorrow night, Bezrat Hashem. Hopefully we'll get some music and dancing. Chodesh Sivan has, I'm trying to remember which otiyot it is, that the otiyot in Sivan equal Oz. Oz is 77. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, it's the word Sivan. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Maybe part of Sivan. I have to look at it. But Oz, Hashem, Oz lamo yiten, Hashem yivarech et amo b'shalom. When we are in our strength, when we are in our glory, we bring Hashem to bless us with peace. Hashem oz lamo yiten. Hashem yivarech et amo b'shalom. And we have to act with holy chutzpah to show the world that Am Yisrael is high. We will not surrender, and we're not surrendering, and it's not in control of the government, and it's not in control of the US, it's not in control of the UN. En lanu al ma nismoch ela al Avinu sheba shamayim. Our God in heaven. We have to trust only in Him. So ladies, keep on your tefillot. You're amazing. Keep on praying. Keep on singing and dancing. Keep on strengthening our chayalim by sending them forth messages of koach, of oz, of azut, of gvura, of might. And this is our malchut, because we're going to be receiving the Torah next week. And it says we are mamlechet kohanim begoy kadosh. We are a nation of kings, and we are Hashem's Am Segula. We're Hashem's treasured nation. Just realize I'm standing in the middle, and the whole world is watching me as I'm talking to you guys. I'm so passionate about what I'm saying. I realize where I'm standing. So we are the nation, the Am Segula, Hashem's treasured nation. And we have to be proud of that. We have to show that, and we have to stand up for that. Am Yisrael Chai, because we're always alive. We're always going to show our chiyut. And even this is what I was talking about in my shiur, was that what represents us as Am Yisrael? It says, how do you know somebody is a Jew? You see someone, how do you know what qualifies them as Jews? Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't know. They have to have 3 qualities. What is that? Rachmanim, Baishanim, Gomle Chasadim. We are a nation that has rachmanut, that has mercy, compassion, and we see that with our soldiers taking care of all the civilians, making sure they're alive, making sure they're safe, making sure they're getting food, right? This is who we are. It's our nature. We don't need the US to tell us that. This is who we are, and our nature is to want to have mercy. Of course, not to our enemies. We're not allowed to have mercy on our enemies. We know when Shaul wanted to save the king of Amalek, that was wrong, and the kingship was taken away from him. We have to hate our enemies. It's a mitzvah to hate our enemies, right? To hate Amalek. It's not a mitzvah to have mercy on them. But with regards, right, to people who are not necessarily our enemies, we see we have to have rachmanut. We do, and we are rachmanim baishanim. We have busha. What's busha? That we are embarrassed if we did something wrong. And we confess. We say, yes, I'm sorry, I did something wrong. The power of tshuva, right? That Hashem gives us. When we do something wrong, we confess, we fess up to it, right? Because we have busha, right? We are embarrassed of doing something wrong. And we are an am gomlech chasadim. Look at the chesed, what's going on in the world right now. People are donating to the soldiers, all the vests and all the different equipment and sending money. So yesterday I was at a hotel. Somebody donated money. They should have an ice cream party for the kids who are there for 8 months already. The families that are there, make a little arts and crafts, do things, fun for them, bring music, and all around the country. There are different hotels that are hosting these families for months, and months, right? It's not normal. And all these families, I have a family that just moved in Bet Shemesh. She's begging me, can you help me? Find me closets, find me this, find me that, clothing, whatever it is for the kids that they need. Can you help us with food? A lady called me today. I think she just gave birth. I was with her a few months ago, sending her things, and she probably called me because she gave birth. She told me she's due very soon. She's gonna need things. We give, and a lot of you donated. I have to thank you very much for your donations. If you want to continue giving and sending me donations, I give to whoever I can. Right now I'm collecting for an amazing lady that helped me during the time of the war, that she was also helping this place. And now she's needing help because she's marrying off 2 of her sons within a few weeks of each other, just a couple of weeks away. And she's telling me she doesn't have a dress, her son can't fix his glasses, they don't have money to buy them clothing. I said, no, this can't be. And I don't know if I told you the Ashgacha Pratis story. I'll tell you another time of how I was able to get her some money. And I'm Baruch Hashem collecting also. Whoever wants to give, Hashem should give you back. Bezrat Hashem, really big mitzvah. Lev HaAm. And this is Am Yisrael. We're Rachmanim, Baishanim, Gomlech Chasadim. We're a people that care, that take care of each other, no matter what you see over here, all walks of life, all different people from all around the country. Hugging, singing together, bachdut, ba'ava. This is what we need, ladies. We need ahava, and we need to each shine our light. We need to step into our light and be there for Am Yisrael in whatever way you can. Whether you're spreading shiurim, you're saying tehillim in tehillim groups, whether you're giving money to donations to Israel, in whatever way you are doing it, Hashem appreciates it, sees it, and it counts, and you matter. And there we see our chayalim, our heroes behind me, Shublim. Right? Hashem yishmor otam. I always tell them a bracha when I pass them. We need to daven. That's the most important thing. Daven and be the simcha. If we're entering into very holy days, as I was saying before, this is the week of Malchut. We are Bnot Melech. We are the daughters of Hashem. How we conduct ourselves, how we speak, how we dress, what we do, where we go, who we associate with. We are daughters of a king. We have to be proud. We have to stand tall. And we have to thank Hashem every single day for giving us the zchut. Asher bachar banu mikol amim. They sang it here before. Hashem chose us from all the nations. Let us be proud. Let us go into Shavuot, not feeling sorrow and pain. And it's hard. It's hard. It's time of war. So we need to enter into Shavuot to make up for Simchat Torah. Simchat Torah was a day of tragedy. This Shavuot is going to be a day of victory and of simcha. It's the Malchut shebemalchut. The day that Hashem counts for us, the 50th. The 50th is the highest level of Tahara, the 50th level. That Moshe Rabbeinu was buried on Har Nevo. Har Nevo, Nun Bo. Nun Bo. That Moshe achieved the 50th. Nun is 50. That's why he was merited to be on Har Nevo. We merit to achieve the 50th by Hashem counting the 50th. And on that day, we'll talk about Shavuot. We have to say to his name. It's the yard set of Daven HaMelech. We have to daven. We have to listen to Aseret HaDibrot. So Bezrat Hashem, now you're cooking, you're preparing, you're getting your mind ready for Shavuot. You have to get your mindset ready for Melucha, for kingship. How does the daughter of Hashem act? You're baking your cheesecake. You put in the simcha and the joy into that cheesecake. you're making food, you're buying, you're shopping, you're buy yourself an outfit, of course, to buy yourself an outfit. We'll talk about more Shavuot, Bezrat Hashem. So I wish you all Chodesh Tov, Yom Yerushalayim Sameach. Thank you, Hashem and Zoche, to be here and share this with you. For those of you watching, join us. We get together here twice a week at least for HaAm. We have other shiurim, and we're trying to spread inspiration to Am Yisrael. So forward this video to a friend when you see it. Join my group. I have a YouTube channel and a group, Living Inspired with Karen Miller. And Bezrat Hashem will be zoche together. I'll see you here very soon. All my friends, HaAm, Devora, and Carol, and Primit. Primit's already here. Who else is here today? Let's see, Chaya and Deborah, and I don't know who iPhone is, Karen Tana, and Leah. And
Leah. Hi, Karen.
What's your name?
Leah. It's me, Nadej.
Rachalea. Nice to see you. And I don't see you, but nice to hear you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to be rizocha to be together here, rejoicing and dancing with the Bet HaMikdash rebuilt as we're being Ola L'Regel. We're coming up. Shalosh Regalim, Shavuot, one of the 3 holidays. Let us be b'simcha. Samchenu bebinyano. Hareinu v'tikuno v'samchenu bebinyano. Hashem should protect us, protect all our chayalim as we see behind us, all our shotrim. Bring back all our chatufim. We should be merit. Mashiach tzidkenu b'chesed v'rachamim gdolim. Am Yisrael chai. Take care, ladies. Thank you for joining. I don't know if you have a chance to do it, or if you want to share a song. It'd be very nice. We could share like a song on Yerushalayim, whatever you want to share, if you're able to do it.
I posted a song in the chat if Devora wants to share that one, and also a short lecture by Rabbi Trugman on Yerushalayim. They're in the chat already.
Okay, let's just do a song for now. We can share the video. They can watch it later. We'll share it on my group. Send me the information that you sent here. Okay, I gotta go. It's getting busy here.
Okay.
Love you all.
Karen, thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you so much, Karen.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Devora, for speaking today.
Thank you. Okay, I can try to share the song. Would you like me to try to share it?
Sure.
Okay, share sound. See if I can get desktop. Okay, I think this is it. Right. Here we go.
We can't hear it.
One minute.
We can't really hear it.
Is that better?
Devora, maybe stop and reshare. You have to press the sound. Maybe that's not on. Stop it and reshare.
Okay. Right, stop share. Okay, let me try to reshare it again. Share sound.
There's still no sound, Devora.
Can you hear it?
Not really, just a few words here and there.
Ah, okay, because it's playing very clearly on my computer, but I'm wondering if there's some way. No. Maximum volume on the computer. No. Would you like me to stop the video?
Yeah, we can't really hear anything.
Okay, yeah, because it's playing. I mean, I hear it fine on my computer, but I'm not sure there's something I'm supposed to be. I did click the button to share the sounds.
Is there a volume adjustment on Zoom?
You know what's funny is the volume on my computer as well as on the bar on the bottom are all showing like pretty much the highest. So I don't know.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
I
Well,
apologize.
anyway, it's not your fault. Anyways, the link is in the chat if people want to listen to it.
Thank you.
Thanks for trying.
Hey, ladies, thank you so much. We're going to turn off the Zoom. Have an amazing night.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
for
running the
coming.
Zoom, Pamela. Thank you,
Thank you.
Devora.
Yes, thank you, Carol. Thank you for me. Thank you for everybody for coming. Thank you so much for sharing.